Hey everyone, my name is Jonna, but you can call me JJ because all my friends do. So I'm really excited today because we are going to be doing an interview with a fabulous woman, and I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Rita Narcisse with Nouveau International Design. We are a full interior design and build firm based here in Ormond Beach, Florida. And we service the northeast part of Florida as well, so we go up to Fernandina, Amelia Island, Ponte Vedra area.
And Rita is fabulous, she's fashionable, and she's fun, and I can't wait for you to see what we're going to talk about today. So what is the difference between an interior designer and an interior decorator?
So the difference between the two is education. So an interior designer has to go to school and get their degree. An interior decorator, you could go in and you could put together a home, a space, but then when it comes down to reading the prints, doing those things along the lines with the architect, it gets a little bit tricky. That's why you go ahead and you get your education on that, so you can learn to read the prints, talk to the architect, scales, things of that nature.
So you're actually a lot more involved in the design, the creation of what the interior space will look like then, instead of just decorating it.
Correct. We do everything from the beginning when a client would like to work with an architect or a builder and they need the help to kind of discuss what pieces to fit in that scale, which is the room layout for the dimensions. And prior to them getting their furniture and starting with a builder or an architect, we're able to say, let's expand this wall, let's take away this window, this bed needs to fit here. And then there's a lot of little things that we go into make sure that the space flows properly and the furniture would fit.
So what inspired you to become an interior designer?
I was kind of born into construction. My grandfather owned a plumbing and heating company when I was a little girl, and then he did a whole construction side. So my grandmother and my grandfather, we lived with them growing up, and my grandfather was basically like my father. So on Saturdays, he would say, I have 8 children, I have 14 grandchildren, and one of you guys are coming with me to work. So I got the joys of going with my grandfather on the weekends, or during summers, weekdays, going with him to the job sites. And so I just saw it rewarding on how happy he made other people. I learned how to do drywall. I learned how to spackle. I learned how to use a backhoe when I was 8 years old. I don't know what little girl knows how to do that. But
that is amazing. You've been in it for 21 years. You've seen colors come and go. You've seen fads come and go. Is there anything that you have noticed, they say history repeats itself, anything that tends to come back?
History does repeat itself because now we're going back into the Scandinavian area where things are lower to the floor as far as furniture comes. So if you go back and you really start to look into like the 60s, furniture was lower. They didn't take up such a big portion of the room, and then they did a lot of monochromatic. So monochromatic is color on color. It's the same color used over and over again. Now this season going in, the color is actually more of like this, more of the earth tones are coming back.
Oh, okay.
So if you think way back into, I know because my mom had this 1980s Southwest look. So the era,
remember that?
Yep. The era of the 1980s, it's back. So we're talking your desert rose, your sandy sands, your, earthy tone greens, and the color mauve is actually here.
We used to have a mauve couch. I remember that. I had forgotten it until you said that, but yes.
Mauve is here.
So what is the most fun part of your job?
My fun part is actually being able to select everything in a space for our client. They want to spend this much, but I know the space could look incredible if we do this, this, and this. So it's playing with the old mighty dollar to give them the best structured piece if it's a sofa. And then showing them, hey, we can get, maybe the area rug from somewhere else, and putting together the whole entire space so that when it's all done, we're under budget. And the space then looks phenomenal, and they're able to sit down and enjoy it with their family and their friends for years to come.
So it's the satisfaction of a job well done.
100%.
What is the biggest misconception of being an interior designer?
Oh, HGTV, I'm coming for you. I feel that when I meet with a client, I do ask, have you ever worked with an interior designer before? And if
Okay.
they say no, I give them a crash course, an education as to how we work, what the steps they will find that will be going through in the course of getting them to where they need to be to the finish line. And how by hiring us, we're able to procure and put everything together with the movers, the builders, the architect, everybody that needs to be involved, painter, electrician, you name it, and take that off of them. Or if they're not doing the construction part and just the furniture part, we're able to make the whole house flow, line up when all the install is going to happen, be there for when the install is going to happen, so that the client, they can leave their house or go hide in another room for a couple hours, and then when they come out, it's the big wow factor. So that would be it.
That has to be a lot of fun to see that expression when they see a finished project.
Yeah, that is the best feeling in the world. And we have had a client before, we walked her through the entire house, the reno that was done. She had no expression. And I myself and my husband and all of our other subs were walking around looking at each other like, I can't read her. Can you read her? When I pulled off of the job, I was so taken back because I've never had an unexpressionless client. A couple of days later, I went back, gave me the biggest hug and said she loved it. It just took her a minute to digest it all.
Oh, wow. So it was overwhelming, really.
Yes. Yes.
I was actually nervous for the answer there for a minute.
Yeah. So was I. So was I.
What surprised you most about becoming a business owner?
Women really being more of a woman's woman, meaning they empower each other and embrace each other and boost each other to go into their businesses. If it's, a bookstore, if it's a clothing store, anything of that the woman may own, we support them instead of the bigger box stores, if you would. So being able to see our sisterhood actually level up together, I would say that's the biggest change in business, because when I started way back in the day, my industry was very cutthroat. The bottom line is there's no competition. The only competition you have is within yourself. You don't have it with any of the other women amongst yourself.
Okay. Now, I would think that being in construction, it's a very male-dominated industry.
Yes. Yes.
So, being a woman in a male-dominated industry, do you ever find yourself having to justify yourself?
In the beginning, you go and you meet somebody and they very first see, oh, you're the designer, as if there's nothing in between, my ears. And once I start to then discuss, because mind you, I have a construction background. So once I am able to talk the lingo, then they catch up to speed that, oh, she doesn't just make pretty stuff. She actually can discuss the plans if we have a problem, if we're going to run into a problem. When I very first started, I was extremely intimidated because I was unsure, how are the guys going to perceive me? Mind you, I was raised by boys, so my voice is spoken and I say what I need to say when I need to say it. As my husband says sometimes, he's like, your tongue cuts like a knife.
And I'm sure he says that with love.
He does. He does. Because when I go to the job site, it's a different version of me clicks on.
Okay.
We're here to get a job done. Everybody needs to be in their spot. We have a certain amount of time to get it done. So when I was intimidated, once I got that, and of course through experience and time, now when I walk on a job site, I'm not intimidated anymore.
But you're a woman that knows how to get things done.
Apparently.
So you had mentioned that at the beginning when you were so intimidated. How did you move past that?
I can tell you that I did have one gentleman. He actually had called me, babe. Hey, babe. And I was like, excuse me, my name is Rita, first of all.
Yeah, the feminist in me just cringed.
So just kind of letting them know, I respect you just as much as you respect me. You give, I get, vice versa. So what you project to me is what I'm going to project back to you. I'm a very nice person until I'm not.
And now you're probably at a point where your reputation precedes you. And people just know that to work with you means professionalism, and the intimidation factor just isn't there anymore.
Correct.
If I said, tell me about your typical day, can you do it? Is there such a thing as a typical day?
Every day starts differently. Like tomorrow, in the morning I have an install at 9 a.m. New Smyrna. for the most part, tomorrow's install day. So every day kind of changes. Some days I'm in office all day. Other days I'm jumping from job site to job site or install to job site, so on and so forth. So it fluctuates.
I think one of the things that has probably changed a lot since you first started is now there's such an influx of social media and cell phones, and there really isn't such a thing as private time anymore.
No.
We're expected to be on call and answer those calls at 6 a.m. How do you establish boundaries to make sure that you do have the me time, the family time? I mean, you're married, you have kids. How do you separate business Rita from family Rita?
So what I learned to set the boundaries first and foremost when I meet with the client, and I let them know, or the contractor, I work Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Monday through Friday. Now, contractor is on job site 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, and he calls me, and I know he's on the job site, I will pick up. But if I'm on holiday with my families, emails are sent out to everybody to remind them we're closed, we're on holiday, or I'm unavailable. My other designers will be available, or our project manager will be available to help them with whatever problems they may have while we're gone. But we had to learn to set the time for our family because I also work with my husband. Yes, so to save the marriage. I have to learn to shut it down.
I think that's so important. You have to make sure that you have that time for yourself, because otherwise you're going to burn out.
Yes, the burnout is real. Been there, done that.
So that leads me into the next question. So you work closely with your husband, right?
Yes.
So what is the best thing about working with your husband, and what's the most difficult thing about working with your husband? We want all the dirt.
All the dirt. Okay, so here's the dirt, ladies. So working with your husband is great because as long as you guys both can communicate with each other, first of all, in your relationship in general, meaning you say it like it is, then you guys can work into business together. But there's a fine line now because you have to take off your marriage hat and put on your business hat. Because in a marriage, you can say it like it is, but in a business, you have to smooth it over a little bit better because maybe you're sitting with a client or you don't need to discuss something in front of, a third party. So you have to be mindful and respectful of, this is now my business partner. My husband's over here. My business partner's over here. He knows his lane on the general contractor. I don't try to play contractor. And I know my lane. He doesn't try to play designer. Now, if I need help, meaning, hey, Eddie, can you put your eye on this after I've done a design? He might put his eye on it and say, why don't you do this, this, and this? And then it helps because now I have instantaneously another eye. He already knows what's going on with the project to help me with that. The downside of working with your husband is sometimes, like all things, you can agree to disagree, which I always just like for him just to agree with me. But you can agree to disagree, and then you learn to pick your battles.
So how do your travels manifest into ideas for projects?
Everything that I see, the back of my mind is constantly going on, look at the staircase. Wouldn't this look great in this house? Look at the banister. Maybe windows, certain types of windows that would look great on this house. Or if you walk into a really cool restaurant and you see their beautiful, luxurious sofa inside of their, along their banquet wall, or it's a lounge. Love, love, love history. And architectural history especially, because there's so much in there that people don't realize you're implementing into today's design. It's still here. We're just, as we spoke earlier, taking something that's classic from the past and bringing it forward.
So the whole world is your mood board.
100%.
What is the project that you are most proud of?
The United Way office building. The president, Courtney Edgecombe, came to me 2 years ago and asked if we would do the United Way office building. They had been in a building since the 70s off of International, and now they're actually moving into a space that they get to make their own. They can pull together 70 people at a time if need be.
Oh, wow.
But it was nice to be able to do that because when that organization started here, it started with next to nothing. Through the community and the outreach, it grew into so much more. And so now when their sponsors or their board members, the team leaders go to have their meeting in their office building, now it's a feel-good space because you get to walk in there. They have a gallery wall of their achievements, kind of like where they started, where they're at, and the office shows them now. And that's a really good feeling for the whole team there. And for me to pull off of that job, that was so inspiring for me. We did a live wall. It says Live United so people could take selfies. So it's a fun space instead of it just being like, oh, we're going back to office. Offices should be fun.
Well, that's incredible then to be able to help them step into that when you said they basically came from nothing, a very small constructed space, to having this area.
Yeah.
Where it's just creative and colorful. That's fantastic. So what are your top 3 tips for someone who wants to spruce up their home?
A very inexpensive way to spruce up your home is pillows. If you go to Amazon, they have slip covers. So you just unzip your pillows, take that one off, put a new one, put your insert into your new pillow, zip it back up. You have instant change on your sofa. Throw blankets are amazing. Books, because books can elevate and add to a space. You can do candles of all different types of heights. Throughout your space. So those are inexpensive ways to change up a space. If you want to get a little bit more detail, changing up your area rugs seasonally helps to sprucing up the space. You can roll out the old ones. If you have animals, you're going to want to get rid of them anyways. So
That's for sure.
yeah.
I run into that.
Exactly. So you could just get an inexpensive area rug, have it for the season, and then throw it out for whatever reason. And then same thing with your drapery. You could change out your panels. And that will just help to kind of spruce up your spaces.
And it's an inexpensive way to stay on trend with the latest colors then.
Yes.
You get your mauve and your sage.
Exactly. As long as you have a good base for a sofa, you can do any color.
Are there any hard and fast rules for design? Like anything people absolutely should or should not do?
You know, a long time ago, there used to be rules. There really aren't any rules, to be honest with you. A lot of people used to think, oh, I can't mix, pattern on pattern. It doesn't go. The reality is, as long as you're keeping within the color scheme of it, it can go. So there's really no rules to interior design. I would say the only rule to interior design is color, because you need to make sure that the colors go together through the space or spaces. But other than that, there's really no rules to interior design anymore.
So as an interior designer, how do you stop yourself from constantly redoing your home?
Oh, it's easy. Just don't do it.
You're involved in a lot of activities outside of your business. Can you tell me about some of them?
So I was part of Women United, as we discussed before, with United Way. And then I'm also part of Bold Ladies. And Bold Ladies is a women's chapter here in the Volusia Flagler, St. John's, Tampa. They're imploding everywhere. B&I, I do a local B&I group as well. So just staying connected within the community is super important, because you have to have your face in sight to be able to be recognized. And then that also helps when you want to get your work out there and featured. We are part of the chamber here in Ormond Beach and in St. John's. I would say definitely networking is great, because when you have little kids, you're meeting lots of moms and you're doing lots of meetups with your children, which is great. I did a lot of that. But then as they grow up, now you need to get your you time. So not only are networking groups great for business, but they're great for making friends. Like I met you.
She did, it's true.
It's true. Yeah. So networking is great, because then when you pull the networking away, you actually make a friend, and then you have different connections outside, and that friendship came from that networking group, which always has the best interest of helping your business grow.
Can I ask how old you are?
Yes, I am 47.
I love that. I'm 46. There's just something about being over 40. It's my best time.
Literally the best ever.
What advice would you give to yourself at 21?
I would say don't be afraid. Just go for it. Don't listen to what other people have to say, because a lot of that was a lot of my holdback. I was always so concerned with what others would think, instead of just charging ahead in my own path, or not always looking for acceptance if it was from family or from friends, but just doing my own path. If I would have done that in my 20s, it would have been a game changer. People ask, are you gonna tell people your age? I'm like, yeah, honey, because why
Oh,
not?
absolutely. I've always been proud of it.
Me too. Like, of
People that say,
course.
"Oh, I'm 25 again." No,
No,
46. Love it.
I have owned every bit of this. Everything has made me who I am. And I'm grateful for all of the trial and tribulations I had to go through because it wasn't easy. But I'm here.
Kicking butt.
Yeah.
How do you stay motivated?
I listen to a lot of podcasts, and then I do have some really great interior design friends, and they're very good at helping me get out of my head. The good energy that my friends give back to me, and also my family as well, they're very, very supportive. It's okay to take a break. Every day doesn't have to be go, go, go.
Yeah, I think that's an American mindset that we have where we feel like we need to just work until we drop, and
Yeah.
we sometimes need to just shut that off.
It's okay to say no, and it's okay to take that moment or hours or day for yourself.
How do you manage stress?
I would say the way that I handle stress is I started to journal.
Oh, good.
So I journal a lot. Sometimes if I'm in the car and I'm a child of the 90s, so I listen to grunge music, it'll go all the way up and you immediately just feel it all, like it just melts off of you. And you're like, oh, okay, I'm fine. Or take it to the mat, meaning yoga, Pilates, walks. Walking clears the head.
So where can we see your incredible work?
So if you wanted to see it publicly, you could actually go to Avenue in New Smyrna. It's off of Flagler Avenue. It's a 3-story restaurant. We assisted on that one. You could go to Hidden Treasures, Ponce Inlet, their dining area. We've done that one. And then you could go to Tiano's, Daytona 1, and Tiano's, New Smyrna. We helped there with their restaurant as well. And soon you'll be able to see us at 35 Bistro, which will be fantastic. So excited about it. Our Instagram, you can find us at Nouveau International Design. And also on Facebook, Nouveau International Design. We're there too.
And all of that will be tagged so that you can find Rita and her fabulous work.
Thank you.
Well, Rita, I want to thank you so much for being with us today. I think everything you've had to say was extremely inspiring, and I look forward to more of what you're doing.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Want to see who's coming up next? Make sure you click subscribe so you don't miss a single interview that'll be coming your way. And if you love this interview, send it to 3 women that you think would be motivated and inspired by everything you saw today.